Hi, I'm Yannick Hanfman.
I'm Ilya Marchenko.
I'm Dennis Kudla.
This is Sebastian Altner.
It's Marc-Andrea Whistler.
I am Francisco Cerundolo.
And you're listening to the Game to Love podcast. Hopefully you enjoy it.
Hopefully.
Welcome back, tennis fans. We're here with a very, very special podcast, and it's not a happy one because Rafael Nadal has announced he will be retiring from professional tennis. It took us by surprise. We were packing the bags, heading to the local challenger, and we turned around. I feel like it's very fitting being in Spain at this moment. Obviously, something we could never have planned for. The trip was paid for well in advance. But we're here the day Rafael Nadal announced he'll be retiring from tennis. He will be playing next month at the Davis Cup. And there's just going to be so much to unpack on this episode. We're live for you guys, so please let us know your thoughts and comments in the live chat, and we'll read them out as we go. But my initial reaction before we get into some tweets is thank you, Rafa, for everything you've been able to give to us over the years. Rafael Nadal is the reason I got into tennis to begin with. He was the reason, really, we started this podcast, from my side anyway. And he is a big motivation, I would say, in my daily life, in a lot of things I do, with whether it's my career or my relationships or what I've done with my own playing of tennis. He's been someone who I've always thought about in big moments of my life because I find him a very motivational character, someone who gives his all in any moment, and he fights to the bitter end. He is very humble in defeat, and I think the memories he's given me already in my life, I will cherish for the rest of my life. And yeah, it's a day which we knew was going to come, and it's not like a massive surprise, but still it doesn't make it any easier. And Rafael Nadal retiring from tennis is just something which I don't even like to say out loud. It makes me feel ill saying it, and I feel we're never going to see anyone like it. As much as we've got Alcaraz and Sinner now playing incredible stuff, what Rafa brought was more than just his tennis, and how he performed on the clay courts. I don't think anyone will be able to reach them heights.
Definitely not. Well said from a very passionate Rafa fan in JG. Like you said, though, we all sort of knew this day would come, and the writing's sort of been on the wall for him for the past few years. We've been blessed, I think, by watching him win his 21st and his 22nd Grand Slam title. I think those were just sort of like an icing on the cherry on the top of the cake. The thing he's brought to the tennis world is a lot of emotions for fans around the world. Even myself, I've been emotional on Rafael Nadal winning tournaments, even though I'm not his biggest fan. That's what he does. He can transcend more than sport. He delves deep into people and show what it is to be a fighter, to come back from injury, to really just never give up. That he is the embodiment of that spirit. So he'll be sorely missed, and I think it is fitting, like you said. We are here, we're in Spain. We saw David Ferrer yesterday and Pablo Andujar, and just strange that now, it was actually a Spanish bank holiday yesterday.
No.
And today is the day that the announcement came out, and a very sad video, very heartfelt from Rafael Nadal, but a really beautiful one as well, because he obviously credits everybody in his whole entire life who has made it possible. Family, friends, everybody, all loved ones. So I'm sure there's going to be an overpour of emotion coming out from fellow professionals, fans, media, everybody for Rafael Nadal. And even if you're one of his biggest rivals, there's one thing everyone can agree, is he's going to be missed.
Well, he's already had so much reaction online. We're going to get into that, I'm sure. May even do another video on everything, which Federer, Djokovic, Kyrgios is there as well.
Yeah.
Not too long ago. But we're going to see everyone react. It doesn't have to be tennis fans. It's going to be big news. He is one of the greatest athletes ever. And it's not just tennis. He's just such a big figure. And he's going to be known mainly, especially from the people who don't watch so much tennis, is just what he was able to do on a clay court.
Yeah.
And I think that's something which you can never take away from him. I've got a few stats here, and this is most wins in a single Grand Slam event. You can see him right at the top with 112. Federer there in second, 105. And then Federer also in third at the Australian Open. Djokovic with his most wins at Wimbledon. You'd think if he plays next year, he'll probably get to the big number 100. But 112 wins in one Grand Slam event is just astonishing. It really is. Within that record, you'll have to remind me of how many matches. I think it's 4 losses, isn't it? Because it was 3 and then lost to Zverev last year. So 112 wins, 4 losses at Roland Garros. Will anyone ever make 112 wins at a Grand Slam? Djokovic, you'd think, has chances, but he's going to have to play another 2, if not 3, minimum Wimbledons. Does he have that in him? I don't think he will. Or even if he does, I don't think he's going to be going deep enough to be able to eclipse 112. And we've got numbers and records which this guy's broken, which nobody's ever going to be able to beat. We're looking at the likes of Alcaraz and Sinner. They're young, they're hungry, they're looking good. Are they going to be able to get to these numbers here like we've seen at Roland Garros? I just don't think so. I really don't. And he's ended his career now on 22 Grand Slam titles. Yeah. He lost 8 finals.
It's a pretty good percentage.
Yeah, ATP 1000 events, 36, losing 17 finals, 523, and 250s, 10, and of course Olympic golds. That's 92 titles for Rafael Nadal.
Amazing.
The big ones anyway, which is an incredible record. And you can see there, looking at this stat, I don't know if you want to share it, but lost-wise, he's lost 39 finals, which, if you look at how many he's won, is not bad at all. Yeah. I've always looked at like a final as a bit of a, it's more of a 50-50 than other matches. And for him to be able to, well, completely throw that out the window, the 50-50, he's won 92, lost 39, shows his winning mentality in these big moments and what he can achieve under the biggest of pressures, on the biggest stage against the very best players. And he's played in the era with the very best players, let's be fair. Novak Djokovic, Roger Federer, and then you throw in the mix your Gal Monfisis, your Stan Wawrinkas, your Del Potros, your Andy Murrays. It's been tough. It's been really, really tough. And he was able to just do something nobody was able to do. Him and Novak Djokovic and Federer have been incredible. The difference between Rafael Nadal and those two is, I feel there is, you're either in one camp or the other. I don't know if you can respect all of them equally, but to be a true fan, I find it's hard to be a massive fan of Djokovic and a massive fan of Nadal. You're kind of either one or the other, and I was always more on the side of Rafael Nadal. What he does differently to them is this grit and determination, this never die attitude. And on clay, Djokovic looks so good coming into the matches, but he's got the ability to be bageled by this guy. And I think that is just the levels.
It is the levels indeed, and especially on the clay court. He is the king of clay for a reason. He has the most wins at Roland Garros, and it probably will never be beaten. And he has announced, obviously, where he's going to be playing his last ever match, which is a big thing that we do need to speak about. It's a very significant one. You see how much it means for all of the big players is playing for your country. Djokovic, we had Federer, and, well, Federer's was actually at the Labour Cup. Yeah. It's something to do with team events and announcing retirements that I think go very nicely hand in hand with these big players, because you don't really want to do it on your own. you've given so much to so many people, and I think it's great that everybody will be there. And of course, it's in Spain. That's the big thing. And we go all the way back to 2004 when he won the Davis Cup with Spain in Spain as well. So it's just it's a full circle thing, and I can completely understand why he's picked there, because Rogers' one was a massive success at the Laver Cup, and I think that the way that was handled was brilliant. I loved all of the event. I loved all of the videos that came out afterwards, which was sort of like a documentary style. I'm hoping they do the same for Rafael Nadal. It's going to be emotional, and I'm sure Big Rog is going to turn up and make Rafa cry one more time as well.
Yeah, that Davis Cup in 2004 was famous in Seville. Just massive, really, what this guy's done. And I like the fact that it's going to be for his country. What's this one? Is this?
That's the 2004.
Yeah, back then. I mean, look at the team. Just the players. Carlos Moya, Rafael Nadal. You've got Carlos Ferrero, Tommy Robredo, someone we used to really like watching as well. Brilliant team.
Yeah,
and
it's fantastic.
The best thing is now at this Davis Cup event, which is going to be in November, the leader, the manager, the coach, whatever it is. What's the word?
Oh God.
The captain.
Yeah, captain.
Is going to be David Ferrer. So David Ferrer will be picking the team for the Davis Cup.
Love that.
He's got obviously a massive headache because on paper, Rafael Nadal was not one of the strongest competitors for Spain. You would probably put a lot of other Spanish players ahead of him if you're trying to win the title. But this is his last event. And is he going to put him just in the doubles? Is he going to allow him to play singles? Really, if you want to try and win the event and you treat it with the utmost respect, and that's what Rafa's always done, maybe we may never see him play singles. He may go there and only play doubles.
I think he might. I don't think singles is going to benefit his nation. I think that he's going to want them to win, and he's going to want to end on a Spanish win for his country. This is it. This is the big one. It's Davis Cup full circles. Spain in 2004, Spain in 2024, and Rafael Nadal with a doubles win to help them on the way. I think that's how it's going to...
With Carlos Alcaraz, potentially.
I think it's got to be, hasn't it? It's got to be.
I think they've got to let him have a singles match. If he wants one, it's just...
Nah, I don't think he will.
You've got to put it out the window. You just want to see him again. Because do you know the worst thing about everything is, if he isn't to play any more singles, his last ever match will be the one against Novak Djokovic on Philippe Chatrier at the Olympics, where he lost. So you don't want that to be the last match, but
that would be a sort of...
It is fitting in a lot of ways, though. That is the last one.
Well, it would be against Djokovic.
How many matches do they play?
Well, like 60.
60 or 70 matches. Something ridiculous between the two of them. And it was so even.
Yeah.
I think it was 60, isn't it? It's like 31-29.
I don't think it was a bad performance against Djokovic either. I think he was obviously not in his best to Nadal, but he still took it to Novak Djokovic in that match. And there was still a sign of the old Rafael Nadal that was pushing Djokovic around in that match. Yeah. I don't think he would like to have lost his last ever singles to Djokovic, but I think if it's just playing Novak Djokovic, I don't think there is that sort of stick for each other that they have. I think there's so much respect. I don't think the result mattered so much. That was sort of a farewell in itself to Novak Djokovic and their rivalry. Yeah, I mean, we can talk all day about Rafa Nadal. There's just so much to unpack.
Let's go through some comments.
Go
Ben.
on.
So Jamie Drummer has said, things have never been the same since that match at Wimbledon versus Fritz. We were there watching the match live, and we saw everything, the way it was sort of unraveling for him.
Yes.
I think, was it his dad or someone in his box was saying to stop the match, don't play anymore. He ended up getting through, would have played Kyrgios, and in the semi-final of Wimbledon, wasn't to be. But that was really decline from that moment on.
Well, that one moment, nobody else would have got to have seen this one moment that we actually got to see in person because we were actually press at the event. But he obviously does an English press conference and then they flick to a Spanish press conference.
Yeah.
And within that time, he would do the English press conference. He was sitting there speaking and he was very, very in the zone of just, it's like a character that he goes into a little bit in that press conference, and he let the guard down for a second, and you could see his like the pain in his face, and then someone said, "Oh, gracias, Rafa," and he just went, "Oh," and switched back to smile again, like, "Oh, thanks, guys," and then went onto his phone or something. But it was a very strange, like, you knew something very severe was up with him. And yeah, then I've never seen something quite like that in person, where you see someone break like the character that they're trying to uphold, this level. I mean, it must be so tough. You can't ever show your true feelings because you know that the media are right there waiting to report on everything. And I just thought at that moment, yeah, this could be serious for him.
Yeah, shout out to Gene, who's in the live chat.
Cheers, Gene.
32 months as a member now on the channel. Yes, it's been long, but thank you, Gene, for being with us on this journey. And we know you're a big Djokovic fan, but you've got some kind words to say as well. Saying glad to witness so many Rafa moments. Even not his biggest fan, he brought a lot of joy to me, and he definitely brought joy to everyone in tennis. That some of the moments have been magical. I mean, one of the most recent ones we can remember on the podcast was with Daniel Medvedev at the Australian Open, 2 sets down,
Amazing.
Down a break. Was he down a break or break points?
He was like love 40 and 3-2.
It wasn't looking great for him.
Terrible.
It was like 1% chance of winning, and he come through and won that match.
Incredible.
Just many magical moments, really. I think all of the Roland Garros ones have been some of the best for me. From a personal level, I feel like we're going to be going down memory lane a lot on this podcast, but I remember growing up watching so much of him on ITV4, because in the UK they show Roland Garros on ITV4. I've always said to Ben for the first sort of moment I knew him, like, that my favourite event is the clay courts. It's always been Roland Garros, and a big reason for that was just watching it after school, coming home, or even sometimes when I wasn't at school. If I was I remember there was a few times when I was sick during that period. I was at home watching it all day. At school watching it on your phones or whatever, and it's just magic. Like, to be able to see. I remember going to certain classes where they introduced computers. Like, we had like these laptops, such a cool thing. I used to just watch tennis stuff. Watch Rafael Nadal then at Roland Garros, and I just always adored him. I remember watching him play against Federer at the ATP finals in the O2 with my dad. The Spanish flags flying, the passion from the Rafa fans is always more than anyone else.
They're very passionate.
And this is the end of him, and it's going to be in Spain at the Davis Cup. I'd love to see Spain now win it, but it's a big ask because Italy, America, Australia.
There's a lot of good teams.
There's some good nations out there, and it's definitely not going to be easy. Another thing what's a bit strange today is someone else announced their retirement, which I think is quite interesting, because I don't know if you remember, but them two we used to always speak about.
Yeah.
I don't know if you want to just add it.
Worries.
We used to speak about at the same time, because they come through at a similar time. They played a lot in the juniors together.
Yep.
And Nadal and Gasquet have announced their retirement on the same day.
Do you reckon they spoke to each other?
I don't know, maybe because these two were the two up-and-coming players at the same time when they're playing at the Le Petit.
Yeah,
I'm not sure how to say it, but
I know what you mean.
yeah, I don't have all the names to hand now, but they've had such a journey together. What excellent players. I mean, the Gasquet backhands are brilliant. In terms of the rivalry, it's not been much to watch.
No.
I believe Gasquet used to beat Rafa in the very early stages, and then once they got on tour, Rafa's blitzed him. It's one of them one-sided records. However many matches in a row. I remember we watched one. It was quite good at Roland Garros.
The best match.
Yeah, it's fitting that these two have retired on the same day. Two of the upcoming talents who have brought some really good moments.
They have. I think Rafael Nadal definitely brought more moments. not to downplay Richard Gasquet's achievements. A fantastic player. One of the most dynamic backhands in the game as well. And yeah, he'll be missed as well. I think he's still been fairly competitive, even still later in his career. I think that's
he's a good player. He's a really top player, Gasquet, and he's got flair. The backhand is special.
Yeah.
We've seen so many good matches with him. He was better maybe then. There was chances when he was coming through that he might be a Grand Slam champion. He never amounted to the heights of a lot of the top players, but still a player was going to be sorely missed on tour. And for someone who come through at the same time as Rafa, I think it's quite fitting that they retire at the same time.
Yeah.
Just back to the Davis Cup. I know you've got one there you want to speak about, but let's go with this one first. And that is, there's been 257 players who participated in the Davis Cup 2004. They've all retired from professional tennis except for one player, Rafael Nadal.
Amazing.
And that just shows his longevity. He's been here from the beginning. And that stat didn't last for long because the next day after tweeting this was yesterday, he retired. So I don't know if Nadal jinxed him or he knew something.
Yeah,
but
had a bit of inside information. Knew there's one day left to post that.
The longevity's crazy. I mean, he's been in the top 10 for multiple decades. He's been right at the top. He's been world number one for some time. He's won Grand Slams. He's won many Masters. He's been so good at the Masters in the clay courts.
Yeah, I mean,
he's been so good at Barcelona, which isn't a Masters, but still a very prestigious event. And what it means now for Rafa, we don't know. Let's wait and see what he says. I think today's just a day of reflection, thinking about some of the great memories and what he's done for the sport. And I'm sure we're going to find out soon what his next steps are. You got to remember, he is a dad.
Yeah, that's massive.
It's a new thing for him. You'd think he's going to spend some time with his kid and just relax. And then beyond that, we never know. Are we going to see him doing some punditry? That would be amazing. Are we going to see him go down the coaching route? There's a lot of options, I'm sure. His son is going to be growing up. I'm sure he's going to be playing tennis as well. Let's see. We may have a new Rafael Nadal on tour in the next 10 years or so, 15 years.
Do you think, I was just literally thinking of this on the spot right now, but obviously Andy Murray retired very recently as well, another big name in tennis. And Andy Murray's reaction since retirement has been so positive. It's not been, I really miss it, I just don't know what to do with myself. He said he feels like better than ever before. He's actually embraced retirement and like a duck to water. He's been playing golf. He's been out there just enjoying his family life. Rafa, surely he speaks to Andy. He must see that side as well and go, it's not all doom and gloom on the retirement side. There is like another lease of life he's now going to get. And maybe it will be commentary. Maybe it will be coaching. Maybe it will be something eventually. But I think he's going to take a good, I don't know, couple of years off, I think, from even doing anything tennis related. Similar to, I think Federer did sort of similar. He's sort of seeing him come back into the fray a little bit now, starting to visit a few more tournaments and show his face, do a bit of punditry here and there. But if we get all of the big three being pundits by the end of their career, I think we're in for a treat. Get them all on the same panel.
Yeah, it's funny that Snell remembers this when I said in 2021 Roland Garros, Gasquet Rafa was the best match ever. I did really enjoy that match. And
whitewash.
Yeah, it was a funny one. It's great to see that people still remember stuff from quite a few years ago. I don't even know where I was going to go next now. There's so much to discuss really with him.
Definitely. I mean, I was just going to pop these up just while we're talking about him, just so you can see all of the tournaments, or the big tournaments, Masters and Slams that he has won. And we obviously focus on the Slams a lot, but you can see there Monte Carlo Masters, 11 of those. And you've got Rome titles, 10 of those as well. Do you think anybody's going to be able to get to this number for these tournaments? That's such a massive number, 11 Monte Carlos.
I think the dominance on clay, no one can. Because when we're looking at the new players coming through, like Sinner and Alcaraz, they're good on all the surfaces.
True.
And not that Rafa's not great on hard courts, because he is still arguably top 5 in the world ever on a hard court.
Exactly.
It's just like the others, I feel what we're going to see their success very much spread across all of the events and not so focused in one. Yeah,
it's an interesting take. I think that the one thing that he embodies and is able to make him one of the best hardcourt players, it's just that will. Like, that's the one thing that gets you to that position. And that's the same with Federer, same with Djokovic. That they're all the same. They're that good. It's just that on a clay court, he was that much better than Well, and then you obviously swap it around. Federer, he was that much better on the grass. Then you swap it around. You got Djokovic at the Australian Open. He's that much better on that surface. That's why it's brilliant, this era. It's so sad now that we've only got Djokovic left. How long will he keep going for? He's already said he's only really bothered about slams and Davis Cup himself now, even though he's playing all right in Shanghai. But yeah, it's the end of an era. I'm just pretty sad that it ended like this for Nadal. The fact that there were so many injuries. It was an injury-ridden career, really. I mean, but I'm just happy that we did get to see some glimpses of his best in the last few years, because it would have been a real shame if he had just petered out with no other big tournament wins. And to get that final Roland Garros when he had to just play with a numb foot for the whole entire tournament, who else can do that?
Well, I'm glad you mentioned injuries, because that's something we should touch on. He's had many of them, and there's been a lot of events he's missed. He's had to pull out of events.
Yes.
He's not been present on the tour for certain periods throughout his time. And he's still amounted to all of these titles and success, which we've just been through.
Yeah.
In 2005, October, Nadal suffered a stress fracture in his left foot, raising fears of an early retirement. And that's been a theme for a large part of his career, where it's looked like he's a down and out, and he's done. He's going to be retiring. How many times have we thought he's going to retire? He's going to retire. That's why today feels so surreal, because it's actually happening.
Yeah.
It feels like we've been so close to him retiring for about 10 years.
Literally.
It's just been a career riddled with injuries. But yet, he then, beyond that, he's won 22 Grand Slams, 36 Masters, 14 French Opens, 5 year-end number ones, 5 Davis Cups, and 2 Olympic golds. And what he's done for his country is incredible as well.
Yes.
You've seen Olympic golds, Davis Cups, 5 of them. And
it's outrageous.
I know we keep speaking about this 2004 one, but it is special. And the reason that is special is because of this. So 2004 Davis Cup final, let me share it. We can see world number 2, Andy Roddick, leads the American team. Juan Carlos Ferrer was struggling with confidence at the time. So the captain, Jordi Arese, pulls out an 18-year-old out of the hat, and his name's Rafael Nadal, and then the rest is history. Rafael Nadal, we saw what happened after that. He was able to win and take the title for Spain.
Unreal, wasn't he?
Just, we didn't know what to expect. And he was the one out of all the big three who was the young guy who was very good at the start.
Yes.
Djokovic less so. Federer less so again. He was more of a late bloomer.
Definitely.
But Nadal was this kid who just come with the long hair, the sleeveless top. He was feared from the get-go.
Well,
I feel. Like you pull out an 18-year-old and he's there with Andy Roddick challenging him. And he's intimidating, and he wasn't always loved at the start. I remember at Roland Garros, he was being booed the first year. People don't remember that. He wasn't always adored, Rafael Nadal. He went through so much adversity, he didn't change anything. Goes through his same routines, pulls out the wedgie, lines up the water bottles, does all of his stuff, in the zone, focused, determined to win every point. And that's how you become so successful like he was.
That's how you win people over as well. You win people over and gain their respect, and then they become fans of you. That's what you have to do at that level of the game. If you allow the boos and the everything to get on top of you, then people respect you even less. So if you, like, Djokovic is probably the most respected out there because he can just take a ribbon and then he gains so many fans because people know he's got such a tough outer shell. He's able to deal with the hardest of situations on court. Same as Rafael Nadal as well. He has his naysayers where if he goes to different places as well. That's what the best do. They block everything out. They win their matches. They set records. And Rafael Nadal most definitely will have some records that will probably never, ever be beaten.
Yeah, I really did like the announcement. The video is super emotional. Go check it out.
So good.
We posted a part of it on our channel because we want it to be sort of a journal in history and something we can always look back on Game to Love. So go check out that first part of the short. It's very emotional. And the tweet, what sort of accompanied it, was just him saying thank you in many, many languages, because he is so well known all over. I thought this was a nice touch to have this, and it gives everyone a sense of involvement in this magical big day for Rafael Nadal. And you may think it's weird to even call it magical, but I think it is. It is, because we was able to see it. We was able to be along for part of this journey in history. And I think with that, you've got to be happy and just appreciate the magic of it all.
I feel sad even thinking about it at the moment. I've got flashbacks to the Federer one at the moment in my mind of how emotional that was that day. And if it's more than that, or half that, or even the same, it's going to be a tearjerker. It's going to be heart-wrenching. There's going to be all his family there. It's in Spain. There's going to be, imagine the noise that there's going to be from everyone, the cheering, everything. Roger will be there. Andy will be there. Novak will probably even fly in for it as well. Everyone will be there. And it's going to be, I don't know how I'm going to cope.
It's definitely going to be a big one, and we'll be covering it all on the channel for sure.
Definitely will be.
Snell's saying, are we going to see Rafa Novak one last time in the Six Kings Slam? Of course, we've got that before, which is, I think, it's made that a bigger event.
Oh, massive.
It's changed that whole...
He's in the semi-final.
The Saudis are there just raking in the money at the moment. I mean, they couldn't have timed it any better.
Perfect.
It's and you never know. We could generally see a Rafael Nadal... Novak Djokovic third, fourth place playoff match.
Yeah,
I think that's possible.
I think it is definitely possible. But whatever happens, we're going to be getting some fantastic Nadal matches there. It's possibly going to be an Alcaraz one, possibly going to be a Djokovic one. We don't know what's going to happen, but I'm in for it. And I love the fact that we're going to see him in a singles match at least one more time.
Yeah, I really like this image. You can see his shoe, the print on the clay with the Rafael Nadal emblem. I've been wearing Rafael Nadal merch the whole trip here in Valencia. Yep. There's a lot of people wearing it. We're going to go to the tennis tournament soon and see what they're doing there. You never know. There may be some kind of tributes. We've got a lot of Spanish players here. Pablo Andujar, the tournament director, part of the ATP board. David Ferrer's flown in. We're in probably the best place really for such big Rafael Nadal news.
It's massive, isn't it? I mean, I can't quite believe it was like National Valencia Day yesterday with everybody. They closed off all the streets, Spanish flags, Valencia flags were everywhere. And today, I mean, everybody's probably waking up with a bit of a hangover, and then they're seeing this. It's terrible news. It's just like they've just been hit with a right hook just when you wake up, or maybe a left forehand. I don't know how you would call it. Rafael Nadal style.
Well, them forehands were something, that's for sure. And Djokovic and Federer did like Nadal's retirement video on Instagram within 15 minutes of uploading it. Oh. Does that excite you, Ben?
Does a bit. I like to see that. I'm hoping we're going to have a nice, sincere message from both of the big boys. Oh, there's one of them there. There you go, just on cue.
What a career, Rafa. I always hoped this day would never come. Thank you for an unforgettable memories and all of your incredible achievements in the game we love. It's been an absolute honour. And for our audio listeners, that is from Roger Federer. He's come in and commented instantly. Of course, them two love each other. Yeah. You'd think he's going to be present somewhat in Malaga.
He's definitely going to be
wearing
there.
A suit.
He'll be there. He'll be crying as much as Rafa was crying when Roger retired. I mean, I've never seen Rafa cry so much, to be honest. But it's going to be the same. You know what they're both like. They're proper bromance. They're like brothers from other mothers. When they get together, Rafa and Roger... it's something special, and it's something I'll miss. That dynamic, who knows? That might be the new dynamic that we get as pundits, though. I'm still sticking with that. I think if we get those two as are they going to be the next like Ant and Dec? For any of our foreign listeners, they're like a duo who do presenting. I reckon if you had Roger and Rafa doing presenting, it'd be pretty entertaining.
I'm going to end on this one because I do like it, and it's a quote from his video, and there's a few of them. So we'll start with the first one.
Yeah.
In this life, everything has a beginning and an end. Let's go to the next one. And I think it's the appropriate time to put an end to a career that has been long. Certainly been long. And much more successful than I could have ever imagined. And I don't think he really believed. I don't think anyone does. I don't care who you are. You don't start tennis and think, I'm going to achieve what he's achieved.
No, I mean, it's so
You take
much.
each day as it comes. You take each tournament. You try and win what's in front. Whatever tournament's in front of you. Win each match. Win each point. You can break it down to point on point. That's what Rafa's done his whole career. And he would never have imagined that he could have been this successful. Nobody sets out in tennis to think, I am going to be that. And I don't think that's always the right attitude to have. You just got to take it as it comes. And he's going to look back on this and it's going to be in the history books forever.
Yep.
He will always be remembered, and he will be remembered in a few hundred years' time as Rafael Nadal. I don't think his name will ever leave the history books.
Everything's going to be named after him, though, in Spain. This is the thing. There's going to be so many things named after him. And the big thing I want to know is, we've got court Philippe Chatrier at Roland Garros. Where's court Rafael Nadal? And when's that going to be? Are they
Matter
gonna,
of time.
That's what I mean. It's surely just a matter
Next
of
year,
time.
maybe.
Do they change the name, or do they build a whole new stadium just for Rafael Nadal?
Centre court has got to be Pista Rafael Nadal.
Amazing.
All over. I mean,
Yeah.
you're going to have them. We've got one in Barcelona, right?
Yeah, for sure. They're going to put them I think every city in Spain is probably going to have their own one. They're going to have statues going up. There's going to be everything going on, I think, just to celebrate this amazing career.
Yeah, and whatever he does next, he's not going to struggle for work, I feel.
I don't think he needs to work again if he doesn't want to.
Yeah, but I don't think it's going to be... Yeah, but he's going to probably want
He's
to
got
keep
his
himself
academy
active.
going.
He's got the foundation, the academy, he's got this and that. But even outside of tennis, I mean, if he wants to become...
A podcast guest, he could come on if he wants. He's got a bit of spare time.
If he wants to be the king of Spain or the mayor of Spain or the prime minister, whatever they call it there, he's got a chance.
King of Spain, I quite like that. It's come from King of Clay to
They'll
King
just
of
print
Spain.
his face on all the banknotes there.
Imagine.
Change the currency of euro and just call it
A Rafa.
peso Rafa.
Yeah, one Rafa. There you go. I've just paid for that. I like that.
But yeah, let's leave it there anyway, because we'll bring some more stuff, I'm sure, very soon. Thank you for joining us, everyone, and thanks for being live in the live chat and your comments. Ashish saying thank you for all of the Rafa coverage. Absolutely heartbreaking for us Rafa fans with you. It is sad, definitely, that it's happened, but we've got to be just thankful that we was able to see what we have seen. And it was a long career. It could have been cut short on many times along this road. 2005, later on as well, many times. And we've still seen Grand Slams after we thought he was completely done too, which is magical. Same with Federer. He was able to do it. And we're left with one of the big three, Novak Djokovic. He's playing in Shanghai at the moment. We'll be covering as much of that tournament as and when. We'll also be bringing a Wuhan video out at some point, I'm sure. Hopefully Rafa can enjoy his retirement. All the best. And thank you, Rafa, for the memories. Anything left to say?
Gracias, Rafael Nadal.
Gracias por todo, Rafa. And if you haven't already, guys, please hit the like button on this video, subscribe if you're new, and we'll see you very soon for more tennis content.
Adios.